Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. As you know, I'm on holidays, so I find this little quiet time to record this video. I hope all you're keeping well and I hope you have a great summer too. I am actually in northern Cyprus, and that's actually where I'm from originally myself, so I'm visiting for a quiet home summertime. And also, I didn't want to record outside. It's a quite lovely weather. It's very hot actually, and but there's also these insects that come out in the summer that actually make this like noise all the time. I think they're called cicadae in English. So they constantly make this noise all summer. So that's if you hear, we might even hear them at the background. So sorry about a little bit noise. I'm actually inside. I did want to record outside, but it's very noisy. And anyway, so as you know, before I actually went to holiday, I asked most of you what would you like to see while I'm on holidays, and most of you will ask me to do a Q&A video about formulation issues, and that's the biggest on the answer on the poll, and followed up by trends. So what I'm planning to do, I have some questions already which I'm trying to answer on this video, and the next video I'm going to do is about the trends video, so that I can actually accommodate as many of you as I can. So let's start with the first question. Okay, so the first question is how to reduce the soaping effect or excess rubbing time for any making creams and lotions. You know, when you actually make a cream or a lotion and you got this extra white cast when you're spreading cream, it takes a long time to spread. It's not a big issue, but it's bad for if you're making cosmetics or if you're selling cosmetics for the consumers who use your products, and they might say, oh, it's just not a high quality or something, right? So this is a common issue. It happens, and there are two ways of actually eliminating it. First one is actually use esters for example, Olicone that I use. That's also one of them. Or using silicones. They actually have this property, this feature that actually eliminates this excess bubbles, or they're called microfoaming, that happens when you make the creams. So you can use silicones is not the ideal if you're using natural, or if you're making vegan creams or lotions. You can use alternatives like the one I'm using, Olicone. You can use cocoa caprylates, which is also really good and has this soaping effect reduction. So I'm gonna use some kind of links for you so that you can read it. But Olicone, I know that has this, and it's also vegan and it's an upcycled ingredient. You can use that kind of ester, very light esters, to reduce that effect. Hemisqualane is also another one. So you can use this kind of esters in the oil section when you're making the creams. Another one is actually using a secondary emulsifier with a low HLB value. So for example, if you're using a standard emulsifier like Olivem 1000, I experienced it myself. Olivem 1000 actually tends to have this white cast effect, or if you're using vegetal or some other what they call high HLB emulsifiers, they tend to do this. And obviously if you're using high also oil section, so if you're using 20% oils and butters, and if you're using obviously you want to emulsify, you're increasing the emulsifier. If you're using 4 to 5% emulsifier, you'll get this effect because it's just gonna create this excess white rubbing time. So you have two options here. Use light esters, or use low HLB secondary emulsifiers along with the normal emulsifier. So what are these low HLB emulsifiers? Wax emulsifiers. Glyceryl stearate is a really good one. You can also use beeswax, or Olivem 900. These are actually really good. They also have stability, prevents stability, gives body for your creams, and also reduces the HLB value a bit lower, and then get rid of this microemulsion or this foaming issue basically. So that's how you can get rid of them. I'm gonna put some links also where you can get these items. But basically, this is the best way to get rid of the micro foaming, this excess white and rubbing time. Second question is, what kind of extracts are good for hair and skin and various skin conditions? This is a little bit actually a vague question. It's not really exactly, but there are lots of extracts out there that you can actually use for hair or for skin. For hair, for example, you can use a lot of like keratin, vegan keratin, and also you can use like hydrolyzed rice protein. You can use peptides for hair if you want to. You can, you can use green tea as well. You can use oat is really good for hair, and you can, oat extracts. You can get like a powder form, or or soils, or solubilized in oil, or you can use, just as I mentioned, a powder form. You can use lemon extracts, and there are lots of extracts that are really good hair. But if you really want to have like a professional level, a lot of the time they use like keratin, or I saw actually in one of the markets today they were advertising protein powder, like make a hair mask for protein, uh, rice protein. They were using it. So I didn't get the picture, but that's why I was looking at it. So yeah, and for skin, there are lots of extracts you can use, especially for eyes. You can use green coffee extract. It's really good for eyes. It has caffeine. You can also get caffeine specifically as well, get in the powder form caffeine. I do have a plan for making a caffeine eye gel. Not when I go back, I'll actually gonna do it with peptides. So making it professional. And I also have another idea for a video where actually I've seen this on the internet as well. Some people are actually wondering like what makes a DIY cosmetic, yeah, like ourselves, or like a professional, if you're just a budding formulator, what makes the companies, like big companies, what makes them different, their products different than when you're making yours. So they use quite a couple of tricks, but obviously I'll do a separate video. But basically they don't use that much of a heavy stuff, like they don't use oils much. They just use more. They use a lot of silicones, they use a lot of water and things like that. So, but I will do a detailed explanation of this because it's a very interesting subject, and okay, so as I mentioned, I think this was a little bit vague question. There are lots of beautiful extracts out there. Just do a lot of research, figure out the ones, and whatever it is. But as I mentioned, for hair, there are lots of beautiful argan extract. You can get a carbon dioxide carbon extract. Argan extract is very, very good for hair. Oat is very good for hair. Lemon peel is very good for hair. You can also use actives like hyaluronic acid. I've seen it that people start using hyaluronic acid, especially for hair roots, just to keep the moisture. For hair is actually getting trendy. So yeah, there are lots of hair and skin extracts out there. So do your research. If you have more questions, just let me know in the comment section. So next question is starter formulation rules for making lotions and creams. So what kind of like starter formulations? So starter maybe rules, basically. There's no rules for making creams, specific rules. Like it depends what you're formulating when it comes to creams. Like if you wanted to make a very soft cream, or you're making a gel cream. So there are actually, but specifically when you're starting a lotion, the biggest thing between the lotion and the cream, first of all, is the viscosity. Cream is quite viscous. You take the cream, you put it on your face, it stays, it's solid, right? So it needs to have a body. Lotion is more fluid. You get it from the pump, you squeeze it, and it's more, it's less viscous. So the biggest between the two, when you start formulating these, is the water content and low oil content, and obviously everything is reduced. So if you're making a lotion, high water content, I don't know exactly, but for example, you can start when you're making a lotion, it can start around 10% oil, and you can use your humectant like glycerin or any kind of propanediol around 5%, and you can use extracts, and you can use your obviously around 1% vitamin E and your preservative, and the rest will be water. So the water probably is going to be quite high, probably around 70-75%. When you're making creams, you can do the same thing, but obviously your oil percentage is going to be higher, maybe 15. You're going to add like a viscosity increase. You need to make a body, so you need to add like beeswax, a glyceryl stearate, or something like that to make the body viscous. So, and obviously you have a oil as well. So this is different, but start with the easy one. Like for example, just use one ingredient, just use water, one oil, one emulsifier, one propane, like one humectant. Just make it very simple and start building after that. So that's probably the easiest way to start when formulating between the lotions and creams. So the main between them is actually less oil, less emulsifier for the lotions, higher emulsifier and higher oil content, and obviously adding a consistency agent just to give a body for the creams. Okay, so next question. So the last question I got is, how can we add vitamin C and hyaluronic acid to body butters, or is it possible to add these active ingredients into an oil formula or an anhydrous formulation or product? Yes, you can. I think I also mentioned this in my hyaluronic acid video, where there's now is this possible that you can actually have hyaluronic acid that is, you know, is dispersed in an oil environment, like in a castor oil dispersed, and there it's Hyamagic that I showed it to you before in my hyaluronic acid video. So for example, if you want to add it, if you just want to make, you know, a body butter with no water, no preservatives, just butters and oils and emulsifiers, maybe you want to use whatever the formulation that you're doing, and if you want to add these active ingredients without using water, now you can use these like Hyamagic, or there's another one that I showed in the video which you can watch up here. So you can use these kind of agents, active materials, and obviously they're quite specialist. They may not be available everywhere, but you have to look for it. So you can use that, you can add that, and you can also use a oil soluble vitamin C, which is called ascorbyl tetraisopalmitate. So that's an oil derivative of vitamin C. So you can add those, and you can use that up to 10% in another formulation. So you can use these active agents in your body butter, or you can your lip balms, or if you're making even creams, you can. But yes, now it's possible to add these in an anhydrous formulation without using water. And also the person who asked this also said she doesn't want to use any preservatives. Actually, to be honest with you, if you're making a body butter, because you're making a big jar, customer might be in a bathroom, and she or he, whoever using it, may have wet hands, and they're going to dip their wet hands into body butter. You want to obviously, you know, have a shower, you want to use it, so that water is going to get into the container, right? So it's always advisable to use a preservative, even in a anhydrous formulation, just to keep things, you know, extra secure, you know, extra, you know, hygienic, or just to actually, you know, give that kind of like stop any kind of microbial activity, even though it's in full oil formulation. It might get like humid somewhere, so just you giving extra layer of security for your anhydrous product. If you especially making body butters or anything that is to do with like full body products with no water. So especially in the case of body butter, it's advisable to use a preservative. But if you can't afford it, or if you can't find it, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can make it without, but you have to use a lot of vitamin E just to keep the butters keep from oxidization. So it's good to have an antioxidant in place. So it's around 1% to use is really good for any kind of body butter. So yeah, if you have more questions, you can add it obviously in the comments, but also I made a Google Sheets, and you can go there and put your questions. I already have put a status there that's saying answered. If you have a little bit more questions, you can go and log in there, just put your questions, and then I'll see it. So it's kind of more tidy, you know, for me to see everything in one place. Apart from that, I don't have anything updates. I've been using my sun care that I showed it to you last time. Actually, I'm quite impressed because I didn't get like a sunburns or anything like that. I do have one little trick in that formula. Where is it, by the way? I have it here. It's not much that you can see. I use most of it. So here, one of the ingredients I use is actually the vitamin C derivative, ascorbyl tetraisopalmitate. I use it in here as well. One of the reasons I used it is because that vitamin C is quite stable and also prevents UV damage. So it's very, very good for that, and it's oil soluble. So this formula is all anhydrous. So it's a nice milky texture, as you can see, and then there's no wet cast. It just disappears like that. I also put some pineapple flavor into it as well, so it smells very tropical. um yeah, but I will give you the full formula on this when I go back, because I still, I feel I think it needs a little bit more consistency in terms of like make it a little bit more thicker. So I'm gonna play around with it. So that's why I like formulating. You can just do anything, play around it, and then create it. And yeah, and so yeah, I also think very interesting here, which is I'm going to talk about this in the trans video, because I saw this advertisement for something called like a fabric conditioner with a serum effect. Of like, what? Collagen serum effect. I was like, what? you know, I mean, what's this trend? Is it like using fabric conditioner is going to have a like skincare built in? It's like, what's happening? So it was really funny marketing that is just no connection to skincare whatsoever, but they're trying to get like people, now have a skincare and fabric conditioners, maybe the next generation, who knows. But anyway, yeah, so that's it for today. I will see you next time. As I mentioned, I'm going to make a trans video, and then after that I'll be back in the UK on 6th of July. So after that, hopefully I'll do a full formula video when I go back. But until then, if you have more questions, please use the please use the Google Sheets and just put your questions there. I'll try to come back and to you on those as well. And yes, until next time, see you and take care. Okay, bye.